technology behind the walls of the hotel, behind the scenes, that don't touch on brand standards, but when it comes to guest-facing technology and things that are in the room or that the guest sees and touches, brand standards are critical, because that's how we enforce these technology changes and get better speed to market, especially when you operate in an international chain with multiple brands. If you see that the trends are changing and the guests have different needs, you need to put these into the brand standards in order to communicate it to the hotels and have it enforced and rolled out quickly.
I think brand standards are relevant, but I really do not see evidence of the hotel chains keeping up with the brand standards with technology. So until very recently, the brand standard of a major international 5-star hotel still had 2 analog telephones in their bedrooms, because they had not updated their brand standards. One of the things which I do find very frustrating, if you look at standards, not with the brand standards of the hotel, but the country standards with regard to what designates a 2-star, a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star hotel. Those certainly have not kept up with technology. And the problem is, in the UK, we have a 5-star standard, and there are various standards which apply to the 5-star market. We now have a 6-star hotel, so say, being built, but there are no standards in the UK for a 6-star hotel. And I find that very frustrating, that the country standards have not been updated, especially with regard to technology. It's moving so quickly. You could almost update standards on an annual basis. And with regard to the flags, the major 5-star brands, I think that they ought to be looking on an annual basis at upgrading their standards. I don't think they are, and I think it's something which maybe they could do with some assistance.
I would say, I'm speaking from experience from Nordic Choice Hotels, where I was employed until a month ago. We don't use the star system in Nordics, and we're opposed to the star system because it does not reflect what the guest really needs in forms of services. You could say, and I'm speaking to my peers in the hospitality industry, that technology is something that becomes available in 4 or 5-star hotels and then goes downwards. Speaking from the experience I have in Nordic Choice, I would rather say that it's a driver in both ends with different objectives. Nordic Choice used self-service technology, but also the same technological platform for all hotels, independent of star rating or service level. So I would not say that there's any relationship. It's a myth that we should do different things. However, I can give an example. If you would do a self-service hotel, a 2-3-star one, you would have kiosk, you would have check-in, and the motive would be to save staff, it would be to save money. Choice is doing the same thing with a property called The Thief. It's 5-star seafront property, opened in January, and they're doing it to be able to deliver 5-star service in a high-cost country. So they're using technology as an enabler to free up the staff to do other things. They're not saving money on it, really, but the staff can do other things. So I see no direct relation between technology and the star system. I also think the star system needs to be changed. It's obsolete, dictating things that are not important to our guests today.
I think that the challenge we've got is that the associations are they're not necessarily keeping up with technology. We've got a couple of examples. So an example with the requirement of 2-line telephones in rooms. Realistically, it's not something that's needed in the hospitality space anymore. Guests come with their own telephone. In most cases, 90–95% of guests carry their own telephone. This requirement for 2-line telephone in the room disappears. And another recent example that we've had is the requirement for the guest directory, so printed collateral in the room. We're looking at putting a hotel with all of the guest menus in many languages on an iPad type device. But the association standards say that you must have printed collateral in the room, and you can actually be marked down on your LQA scoring. You know, is that right? I don't think so in today's world. So I think as hotels and hoteliers, we must keep introducing the technology and the brand standards, but we have to be aware that there are association standards out there, and we have to take a risk in some areas as to whether we implement the brand standards or whether we say, okay, printed collateral is something we're just going to have to put in the room, and you know, we have to live with it. So it's a difficult decision to make at the moment, but I think with technology evolving, you know, we have to we as hoteliers have to make the decision that we think is right for our guests, and I think sometimes the association standards need updating, and it would be good for us as hoteliers to get that message across to the people making the decisions on the standards, saying, okay, please evolve a little bit.
First of all, brand standards and industry association standards, in my opinion, are hopelessly out of date. The technology is changing rapidly with the life cycle of mobile phones and smartphones and tablets. I think the brand standards need to be more reflective. More importantly as well, it's the owners of hotels who fund the technology, it's not the operators, and sometimes greater effort needs to be put into that. I mean, for example, now the examples we could talk about is there a need for a two-line phone when nobody uses the phone? Or is there a need for a bathroom phone when I don't know if anyone even uses the phone in the bathroom? Or even some people still saying there's a need for a fax in a room. I can't remember the last time I used a fax. But anyway, so I think no, greater emphasis, and I think the brand standards and the ratings need to be more reflective of the technology that's in the marketplace today.
I would say if you look at the current standards in place for associations, I would say they are, in terms of technology, they are completely and utterly outdated. Yes, I believe we need association standards, it helps the consumer, but when it comes to technology, I have yet to see one that is fully up to date and informs a hotel of what technology they should be providing for the guest. And I also understand it's very difficult. Technology is so fast moving, difficult to keep up to date, but there is a major effort needed by the associations to update their standards.